All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the second video of this series. Mm, It being the second video, I will talk about the second rune, which is Uruz. Aurochs, good health, determination, the rune of determination, and the mother it says for some reason, but Aurochs. It says Aurochs. The symbolism of this rune is Aurochs. If you haven't watched the first video, I do a rune series on every single rune. You can watch the previous video. We talked about the first rune. Right now, I'm getting to Uruz now. Now, Aurochs is the Proto-Germanic pronunciation of the word of the rune Uruz. And let me tell you, what is Uruz, right? Uruz is the ancient extinct animal. It's an ancient extinct European bison species that existed in Ice Age Europe. And this animal was really ferocious. This animal really it was a really dangerous animal. It stood 7 feet tall from its shoulders, and it had really big horns. Now, so this animal was really unforgiving, and in the Ice Ages, for our ancestors, really a difficult, thing to hunt. And I want to tell you why. If you want another reason, another way to connect or make connections about Uruz and Aurochs, if you have like hard time remembering, one thing you can do is you can imagine, right, this rune shape as Aurochs. You can just imagine this as a head. It looks like a Aurochs about to charge. It raises its hips, and this is the head, the horns, and it's about to charge. Another meaning for this rune is determination. What it does is, when you're the target and it's locked in, nothing can stop you. It's about to charge at you. The animal's determined, right? Another meaning. That's why it's the symbol, or rocks. Now, it's a descendant of Ketel, of Fehu, the one we talked in the last video. And our prehistoric ancestors kind of, domesticated this animal, Aurochs, and by time it became Ketel. But its wild part is extinct. It went extinct in, I think, 17th century. Now, at Uruz back in the day, for our ancestors, like hunter-gatherer ancestors that lived in Europe, that lived in Ice Age Europe, they needed this animal. They had to hunt this animal because it was big and had lots of meat. It had sinew for, bow and arrow or whatever it is. It had bones for weapons. It had meat. You could, the skin. It had everything. But, you know, back in the day, even if you wanted to hunt a deer, even the deer stood like 7 feet tall from its shoulders. Even the deer would just, the deer had the deer was 7 feet and had really huge antlers. And, the one sweep from that animal could just kill two or three people. So as a hunter gatherer, you had to be careful. Every single hunt was life or death. You were in danger all the time. And in order to hunt that animal, you had to be unforgiving, aggressive, and ferocious, just like that animal. At least just like that animal if you want to hunt that animal, right? You had to be unforgiving. You had to be aggressive. Another thing that this rune gives you if you chant it. Oh, if you chant it. Another thing that it gives is that ferocity. It gives you that power of ferocity, that determination, and confidence for you to move forward. And it gives you that strength. And it really boosts your health. Now, and it's a really interesting thing I saw in this card that I just bought. I mean, I bought this in Amazon. I bought this card in Amazon. And one of the, it says one of the symbols of Uruz is the mother. And I was like, I didn't hear that before. I never heard that before. But it kind of makes sense. Because, you wouldn't wanna be near a mama bear. It's the last thing that you want, because the mother instinct of that bear would just be so violent. It would just instantly had this impulse to attack you, because it would think that It would assume that you are a danger. There's the mother, protective mother instinct, you know. Yes, the mother role is a nurturing role. It nurtures its children, but it also protects its children. It it also protects her children. It had to, right? Mother instinct of protecting children. So another, hint on that ferocity. Now let me get into the experiences of this rune that I had at least. Um, and I'll get into others as well. Uh, the again, the experience I had was I had confidence, and if I was feeling really lazy, chanting Uruz daily would really get rid of that. It would really get rid of if I had a reason to go towards something, and if I didn't feel like I had the energy to do it, Uruz would give me that energy. But again, it would give me the strength toward, and I could feel it. It would give the strength through the confidence that it activates within me. It felt like it wouldn't just give me the confidence from outside; it would just activate like from inside. Um, it kind of just, confidence that I never kind of activated by myself before. And it would give me that feeling of ferociousness, that aggressiveness. It would make me feel like, you know what? No, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna go after, and I'm gonna accomplish. Right? That's my experience. And confidence has a really big role in this route, because in one of my, in fact, in one of my shorts, in my one of my YouTube shorts, or TikToks, I talked about if you are feeling lazy. I mean, if you're really afraid to start your day, one of the reasons why you might be afraid is that you fear that you would fail, the fear of failure, and you would always ask yourself, "What if I fail? What if I fail?" And that asking that question all the time, that fear would just keep you in bed, doom scrolling all morning or all day, if you go that far. And in that short, I talked about what if you asked different question. Well, what if you asked a different question to yourself instead of asking, "What if I fail?" You ask yourself, "What if I couldn't fail?" If there's a prophecy for you, and if you just it would be sure that you couldn't fail, what would you do, right? How would you feel? Well, asking that question to me gets me out of bed every single time. And again, it's confidence that gave you. So again, one of the important thing that this rune does, it gives you that confidence. If we get into others' experiences, I heard of a person, um, they were able to lift more weights, but they said it didn't give me strength per se. It gave them um, the determination, the confidence, and that really boosted that person up. So we might think that confidence can just push us a little bit further, and it can just do too much. It can only do so much. We only think that it can only do so much, but no. You know, Uruz kind of proves that wrong. If you ever experience Uruz, you kind of proves that wrong. Um, you can go farther places with that kind of confidence, and it's a really healthy kind of confidence. Now, one of the things you can uh, chant this rune. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I get into that, I have to explain this another experience of another. I heard from another person. Now, this person was trying to get some kind of health. They had health problems apparently, and they needed strength. They needed to get their body rolling, and they could do that. It worked for them. But they did it so much. They did it way too much to the point that they got horny. Yeah, they got sexually stimulated to the point they couldn't really focus on whatever they were doing it that day. Now, why does that happen? Back in the day, in the Ice Age, if you had to attract a mate, you had some traits that would help the female to choose you as a partner, because again, the female chooses the partner, because she's carrying the child. um, and you needed some skills or traits you needed to have for a female to, for you to attract a female, and you had to be horny. Because if you wouldn't be horny, you couldn't really continue your legacy. You wouldn't really attract a mate. You wouldn't really, you had to be that way. And as part of that confidence, if you do it excessively, you would just, I should say, if you overdose on this rune, it might have that kind of effect. So, I mean, I don't know how much that person is. I remember doing this daily for like a few days, chanting this rune daily for a few days. It didn't really have that kind of effect on me. It gave me a lot of confidence, which really like helped me in my life. But you know, this experience that I just told you kind of it reminds us to be respectful for the runes, respectful for the power of the runes, to respect them, to use them in respect. And if you needed them, go ahead and use them. So it's one final thing I will say about this rune is that if you look at the continuance of this rune, like it starts from Fehu and it goes Uruz and it's Turisaz and Ansuj, whatever, it goes back. If you think about these, the order of the runes, we can say like the hunter, like teaching their son how to hunt, how to be a part of the tribe. First thing they teach is Fehu. The previous video you talked about, the first rune is to how to get their own resources, how to pick up berries, how to build a fire, whatever else, like how to survive basically, right? Physical resources. Of course, back in the day, they didn't have Fehu because they didn't domesticate it back then. They didn't domesticate the animal back then. But the first thing they would teach Fehu. But the second thing the hunter would teach is, is to fight, is to be aggressive because he had to be aggressive. The son had to be aggressive to hunt that animal, to join the hunting party and kill that Aurochs, to kill that deer that has like 7 feet tall with like huge antlers. So I had to be part of that. And the hunter had to teach his son how to not hesitate. Because if you hesitated, and if you didn't collaborate with your hunting party, your mistake could have killed the whole hunting party. And if your hunting party died, your tribe would have died. Because again, animals back then were so wild. They were unforgiving. So, Uruz, again, to summarize, the rune of good health, determination, physical health, physical strength, and this confidence, it gives you that. So yeah, the rune of strength. I guess yeah, this is all I want to talk about this rune. The next rune I will talk about is Turisaj. I'll record that as well. But thank you so much for allowing me to do this. Thank you for watching this video. I will continue with the other runes. Take care.